in applying to be the technical assistance and evaluation provider to the GusNIP community. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you all again for joining us. I'm Mallory Koenings. I'm one of the national program leaders for the GusNIP portfolio here at NIFA. We call the Gus Schumacher Nutrition Incentive Program GusNIP for short, as many of you may already be familiar. We're gonna go ahead and get started. And just as a reminder to folks who just joined, this webinar is being recorded and the recording will be posted on our GusNIP webinars webpage. And this is the funding opportunity webinar or RFA webinar. If your organization is interested in applying to be the Training, Technical Assistance, Evaluation, and Information Center provider for GusNIP. Next slide, please. Please feel free throughout this Zoom webinar to enter any of your questions in the chat. The link posted in the chat, that is the web page where after this presentation, the recording of this content will be posted. Next. We're also going to be sharing in the chat the USDA non-discrimination statement so that you all have those resources. Please feel free to reach out to any of those points of contact if you have improvement opportunities for us. It's very important to us that all of our programs are accessible to anyone eligible. Next slide, please. I always love having the opportunity to share with you the full GusNIP team. We are a team across the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, as well as having partners with the Food and Nutrition Service. I'm Mallory Koenings. I'm third from the left on the top row. Also with us on this webinar today, we have Dr. Pascal Jean, Ryan Cornegay, Beth Curling, Stephanie Smith, and Maria Crespo-Sechampo, who are excellent resources to anyone interested in applying, and will be here in the chat as well as presenting the information to you. Next slide, please. Oh. Ryan, we've lost your presentation. Give us 1 second.
Sorry, but I'm back on now. Give me 1 second.
Thank you, Ryan. Feel free to take a screenshot of this slide. The slides will also be posted on the webpage for you to refer to later. What's shown here are all of our contact information. So if you want to reach out to us. You have our emails there, and that shared gusnip@usda.gov email, that goes to both the Food and Nutrition Service team and the NIFA team. So if there are any specific questions related to SNAP or NAP policy, right, which are the two Food and Nutrition Service food assistance programs that GusNIP leverages, the best points of contact for those questions are that gusnip@usda.gov mailbox. We will also be showing this slide again later. Next, please, Ryan. What we're going to go over today will be a quick framing of what the goals of the National Institute of Food and Agriculture are, the focus of this particular grant program, right? The Training Technical Assistance Evaluation and Information Centers, which we do call NTAE for short. The details, right, necessary to submit a complete grant application, what the grant application evaluation process is, and then also we'll go through some additional information and resources that are very helpful to preparing your grant application, and we'll have time for questions. On the next slide, what you'll be seeing are some of the common acronyms and initialisms we'll be using. We've already mentioned, right, GusNIP, SNAP, and NAP. SNAP being the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program that is available in the 50 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And then NAP, the Nutrition Assistance Program block grants available in Puerto Rico, American Samoa, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands. For short, we refer to the Nutrition Incentive Program sometimes as NI, the Produce Prescription Program as PPR, and right, this grant program, the Training Technical Assistance Evaluation and Information Centers as the NTAE. We've already mentioned our Food and Nutrition Service partners that we can commonly refer to as FNS, and then many of you are already familiar with Institutional Review Board approval to ensure protection of human subjects, which you will often see abbreviated as IRB. Next. So beginning with the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Next, please, Ryan. We are a grant funding agency that is part of the greater USDA family. We focus on advancing food and agriculture. This is across a plethora of different topics that are shown on the next slide. The topical area that is that the GusNIP portfolio is within is focusing on food and nutrition, and our security and human health. Next, please. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to Mr. Ryan Cornegy.
Thank you, Dr. Kana. Greetings, everyone. I'm Ryan Cornegy, and I serve as program specialist for the GusNIP program. I'm going to go ahead and share with you the purpose of the NTAE program. So specifically, this program is focused on cooperative agreement in partnership with NIFA to offer training, technical assistance, evaluation, and informational support services to potential applicants, nutrition incentive projects, produce prescription projects, and to GusNIP as a whole. So to give you a few basics of what this project is based off of, the program name, of course, is the Nutrition Incentive Program Training, Technical Assistance, Evaluation, and Information Centers, or NTAE for short, as we've shared. That is the actual program code for this program, NTAE. The maximum annual budget for this program is $7 million. Then the maximum total budget for the program is $28 million. Project duration is for 4 years, 48 months in total. And the application due date for this program is May 4th, 2023. So to give you a little bit of a description of what this program is specifically purposed on, this program is aimed at providing training and technical assistance, including key components, building capacity, promoting program growth and sustainability, collecting and providing information on best practices for nutrition incentive and product prescription, post-prescription projects, disseminating information and assisting with collaboration among grantee projects, coordinating communication between the NTAE Center grantees, applicants, implementing agencies, nutrition education programs, healthcare providers, and evaluators or researchers, and also ensuring training is culturally competent and centered on diversity, equity, and accessibility principles. And as you'll see in the top right-hand corner, the information that I'm sharing with you will be found directly in the RFA pages that you'll see there. So for this page, for RFA pages 7 through 8. To give you more information about the NTAE program, it's also focused on providing evaluation and informational support services, including these key components: working with awardees to ensure seamless data deposition of core metric data, which is the receiving, maintaining, and transferring; compiling project data from grantees and providing additional statistical expertise to evaluate project performance; maintaining and continually improving design of instruments and the mechanisms for reporting core firm and participant level data; working with grantees on protections for human subjects; working with grantees on intellectual property protections for indigenous traditional ecological knowledge; ensuring data surveying is culturally competent and centered on DEIA principles; receiving, maintaining, and transitioning via warm handoff of publicly accessible online site that makes information available in an anonymized format; and lastly, generating an annual report to Congress on GusNIP grantees' project outcomes. So for eligibility for this program, non-governmental organizations, state cooperative extension services, regional food centers, federal, state, and tribal agencies, institutions of higher education, and other appropriate entities as determined by the Secretary. Applicants are encouraged to seek and create partnerships with public or private, nonprofit or for-profit entities, including links with academic institutions, which include minority serving colleges and universities, and or other appropriate professionals, community-based organizations and local government entities, and or partnering entities for the purposes of providing additional resources and strengthening under-resourced communities. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Canons to share with us about the application details and documents.
Thank you, Ryan. And in the next slide, we're going to take care to emphasize that the National Institute of Food and Agriculture only accepts grant applications that are submitted through grants.gov, and the only file format for your grant application documents that NIFA systems can read is portable document format, PDF format. If your organization has not yet registered with SAM.gov and does not yet have a unique entity identifier, we strongly recommend that you begin that process now. You will need that unique entity identifier from the SAM.gov registration in order to be able to submit an application through grants.gov. So now getting into the details of the specific proposal. The project narrative is a 15-page project narrative, 12-point Times New Roman font, and this 15-page content is for all text, figures, and tables. You'll see here, right, there's line spacing and margins specified. These requirements are for all applicants. They are enforced consistently. So please do take care to follow these instructions. Additional required documents include a logic model, a data management plan, a plan for how the project will be managed among all of the partners, and a bibliography or references cited document is also required. This is to your benefit, right? So that it is a separate document where those references can be found and is not utilizing space in the project narrative. Next, please. There are 4 specific sections of content that are requested in the project narrative. Please use these headings shown here, right? The introduction, objectives and outcomes, approach, personnel and resources, and also convey, right, the information that is specified in the RFA under each section. This is very beneficial to the peer review process. Reviewers receive the same information that is in the request for applications and are going to be looking for these sections and for this content within each section. I will note that you have the option as an applicant to apply to provide these technical assistance as well as evaluation and information services to the nutrition incentive program, the produce prescription program, or to both. So please make clear, right, the scope of your project in each of these sections, right? So that is not something that is a mystery within the application. Next slide, please. How proposals are evaluated. NIFA utilizes a peer review process that begins with an administrative screening, right? Ensuring that, of course, the applicant is eligible, that the page length requirement is being honored, right, fairly for all applicants, that the documents, right, can be brought into our system, right, can be read by a peer reviewer, and that the budget requested, right, is within the parameters in the RFA. Then our reviewers go through and provide an independent review according to the evaluation criteria published in the RFA. And if you are with an organization that has received grants from USDA or NIFA in the past, then we will also take a look at compliance with those previous grant funding requirements. Next slide, please. Our peer review process, just providing an additional overview. Those individual critiques by at least 3 reviewers, according to those evaluation criteria, form the basis for the full panel discussion of a proposal's overall strengths and weaknesses. And then it's the consensus of the panel during panel discussion that will determine the final rating and ranking of each proposal. These are the evaluation criteria summarized from the RFA. And again, these are the exact evaluation criteria that the reviewers are given. So please be sure to be thoughtful in how you're preparing your application so that you are demonstrating, right, relevancy of the goals related to training, technical assistance, evaluation and support services, right, that clarity of if you're, right, proposing a project that is going to serve the nutrition incentive program, the produce prescription program, or both. And that what you're proposing when it comes to, right, activities, objectives, outcomes, anticipated impact is feasible, does have a rigorous evaluation plan, and is innovative. Also be sure to convey the qualifications of the project team, of the partners and collaborators assembled, and be aware that to this point, right, the attached management plan, right, and data management plan will also be evaluated. And of course, something we always look at is that the project narrative and the requested budget are in alignment. Next slide, please. We like to share common mistakes to avoid. So please do be mindful of the application deadline and avoid a late submission. The due date is May 4th at 5 p.m. Applications received at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Time are late. Please also, right, be mindful that you attach all of the required documents, right? The project narrative, the budget justification in PDF, right? The bibliography, the data management plan, the logic plan, the management plan in PDF, please, to avoid any instances that any risk that you may not pass the administrative review before the peer review. We would love for every application to meet all of these administrative requirements and advance to peer review. Next, please. This gives you an idea of the length of time that NIFA's peer review process takes. It generally takes, right, 2 to 3 months after proposals are due to undergo peer review, and then another 2 or so months to make those final award recommendations and process awards. So do be mindful that it may be about 5 or 6 months after May 4th before you may hear back from NIFA, but we will keep you apprised, and of course you may reach out to us with any questions that you might have. Given this timeline, we do recommend and have shared in the RFA and in the frequently asked questions that the proposed start date you use in your application be before the 30th of September 2023. And the next slide before I pass it off to my colleague Beth Curling. If for some reason you decide that you may not want to apply for this funding opportunity this year, or you have expert colleagues whom you might recommend, we are always looking for volunteer peer reviewers. And so if you would like to volunteer or you'd like to share your expertise across NIFA's topic areas and other grant programs, you're most welcome to do so on this webpage. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thanks, Mallory, and welcome everyone. Thank you for spending what is live a Friday afternoon. And thank you to those listening to the recording as well. So we're going to transition and talk about a few of the administrative requirements that may come into play in your budget or while you're in this phase of pre-award negotiation, whether or not cost share or matching is a part of this program, and a sub-award restriction that is implied as part of this program. Next slide, please. This award or these awards will be administered as cooperative agreements. And so that is different from a standard grant. And the way that we make that determination is based on a principal purpose of the project. And in this case, for the NTAE, we're not only looking to stimulate the recipient activity, but we want to do that with substantial programmatic involvement by NIFA. So that means that we're going to be working together at times as part of this agreement. There will be some specific terms and conditions that we will imply or impose on the award to help identify what that relationship will be like. Examples of that would be additional check-ins with meetings, sharing of data, development of reports. Will be very clear in our communication of what that will be like, but it will be different than a standard grant. Next slide, please. The certification of lobbying can be up to a two-step process. So we want to be very clear that the submission of an application in grants.gov includes certification that you understand the lobbying disclosures, and that if your organization does participate in lobbying, that the SFLLL disclosure form is included as a second step in the application. Next slide, please. For entities that move past the award recommendation or peer panel into the award recommendation stage, we will look to verify or re-verify financial management and internal controls information at your organization. We do that for a variety of reasons. Most importantly, uniform guidance dictates that all federal assistance awards go through this process. So if your organization participates in a single audit, that will fulfill the requirement and we will review the most recent audit. If your organization does not participate in single audit, if you have less than $750,000 expended of federal assistance awards, then we will ask to review 2 years of audited financial reports or certified year-end balance sheets, details of your cost accounting system, other current federal awards, either recent or ongoing that you have, as well as statement of purpose and powers or your bylaws. That will allow us to conduct a risk assessment and have a good understanding of where your entity is in its ability to manage an award of this size and scope. Next slide, please. Indirect cost recovery. As you're developing your budget for this proposal, please know there is no programmatic cap. What that means is that your entity is eligible for full recovery of indirect costs. So if you have a negotiated rate with a cognizant federal agency, you may apply that rate. If you don't have a negotiated rate, you may request to negotiate. You may request a 10% modified total direct cost, or what we call the de minimis rate, or you may elect to waive indirect cost recovery. And we do have more information on the indirect cost process and a bunch of scenarios that you can review in helping to make that determination as part of your application. Next slide, please. Cost share, cost match. There is no match requirement as part of the NTAE. So you will be using the federal portion of the budget only while you're preparing your budgets. And NIFA will not factor matching sources into its review process or evaluation criteria. Next slide, please. NIFA anticipates that the applicant will perform a substantial portion of the project, and therefore no more than 50% of the project, as determined by the budget, may be subawarded without NIFA prior approval. If your organization is in collaboration with a significant number of subawards, or you anticipate very strong collaborative effort, please contact the national program leader to discuss that so that we could consider issuing prior approval to exceed that 50% limit. Next slide, please. We've provided some resources. We have on our website a frequently asked questions section. There are frequently asked questions for the NI program, our nutrition incentive, our PPR program, produce prescription program, as well as the NTAE. So you may explore all of those frequently asked questions while you're developing your proposals. We have, of course, the RFA webinars, application resources. There is an application guide at NIFA, and the current NTAE has as part of its Nutrition Incentive Hub, the current core metrics of the GusNIP program. And those will be important to consider while you're developing your application and considering core metrics. Next slide, please. Here are a few others. We will drop them into the chat. You may review them at your leisure. But in addition, our NIFA policy guide, more grant resources. If you're curious how NIFA flows, approaches the competitive grant process and what happens to your application after you submit in grants.gov, you can see that as part of our competitive grants flowchart. And of course, a listing of other future funding opportunities, always opportunities at NIFA. And I do believe, yep, next slide. Thank you, Ryan. We're going to repost our team contact information. This is a repeat slide from very early, but we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to capture that information as you develop questions in your writing. And I will turn it back over to Mallory or Ryan. I think we're going to engage in some questions and answers.
Thank you so much, Beth. Yes. So feel free to enter questions into the chat. You're also welcome to come off mute. So the question is, can you clarify what is meant by the evaluation components in A and G in terms of the transfer of data from the online site? Yes, Ruth. So there needs to be a transfer of, because it's in this case, the incoming NTAE will need to be able to receive the information from the outgoing NTAE portal where awardees are currently reporting all of their core metrics, and be able to really move that service, right, and that information from one awardee organization to the other with as minimal an impact to the active awardees as possible. There's over 100 active awards right now, and we want to best serve the nutrition incentive and produce prescription community by really limiting that disruption. And that would be first at initiation, at incoming, and then also there'd need to be all of the plans and documentation at the close of this coming 4-year cycle to relay all of those services and that portal to the next NTAE. And let me know if I didn't answer your question. Oftentimes this is making sure that technical information, code books, metadata are well documented and shared. Any other questions? Yes, we do share what projects have been previously funded in the past. You can actually get directly to that data on the funding opportunity page for this. I'll go ahead and drop that directly into the chat. Yeah, on our website, this is commonly called previously funded projects. And there is a link to previously funded NTAE projects. Thank you, Pascal. Any other questions? We'll go ahead and put our contact information slide up one more time. If you have questions that do arise, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here and happy to assist. And with that, well, thank you for sharing your Friday afternoon with us. I hope everyone has a lovely and rejuvenating weekend ahead of them. Take care all.